Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am working on week 48 of my 2021 Project Life. I haven't quite finished my December album, so I have an abundance of December-y Christmas supplies out and about on my desk, beside my desk, next to my desk, under my desk. You get the picture. So today I'm just going to use some of that for this week of Project Life. It was the first week that kind of hit December. It's one of those weeks that's like a little bit November and a little bit December. And really when it came to printing my photos, what I decided to do was a little bit different this week. I'm going to focus on, well, I mean, technically it's one story, but it's basically 2 days of this week, which kind of combine to tell one story. So I very specifically printed out photos like that rather than kind of a weekly recap. Because I'm documenting December in an album, it kind of tends to, those sort of stories go in there, and so I've got room in my Project Life to just kind of tell specific stories, and that's what I'm going to do. Plus there's a random photo in there of Lil and Mel because they were like cuddling next to each other, and that's a very rare occurrence in our household. I managed to get a photo of it, and so that's in there as well, just as an added bonus. So I am going to use mostly, I think, or entirely, the Pink Fresh Studio Holiday Magic collection. It's one of those ones that I picked up for Christmas. And I picked up way too much. I clearly have not used a whole lot of it, so I'm going to try and use up a bunch today. I'm trying to pick kind of, I guess, more neutral-y patterns, less kind of Christmassy patterns, including my favorite little rainbow stripe in there. And that was one of the things that I liked about this collection, was there are heaps of colors. It wasn't like super traditionally Christmassy, and so it works out pretty nicely as far as a spread goes here. My plan is to add my journaling. I've got 2 4x6 cards down the bottom, and I'm going to add journaling to those. So I've kept those patterns a little bit simpler so that I can type on top of them. And I did add my rainbow stripe to this 3x4 card here, but I actually liked the idea of having it for my title card, and I don't want it in 2 spots. So I'm going to pull out the 3x4 card, and I'm just going to trim down a piece to sit on top of a bit of white cardstock. I had the 12x12 paper, and that was the initial piece that I cut, but I actually like the scale of the pattern from the 6x6 paper pad a little bit more, especially in this kind of context. So I did trim down a new piece of that, and then I swapped out the 3x4 card for a yellow piece, just to bring in a bit of the yellow. So I've got all of those colors that are in that rainbow stripe, basically. Now I went ahead and did my journaling and my little cards there. You can see it's a little bit messy. It just goes through on my typewriter. It is basically one story that spans both cards, but kind of split up. So we had a rough start to December, and so I had a not so very good day, and then to sort of counteract that and to stop December feeling like it was going down the gurgler, I had a very merry day in the next day. So it kind of, kind of balances things out. So it's kind of like a good and bad things of this week. So I've just written my journaling like that. I've got my photos like that. And that's basically how I've set up these 2 kind of one story for this whole spread. Now I've gone ahead and added a little bit of washi tape. I really wanted to add some gold in here, so I've got my favorite little gold scalloped washi tape that I've added into the white strip of the title card. And then I placed out these the cardstock, they're kind of chipboardy letters. They don't have numbers, disappointingly. And so I've had to spell out 48, and spelling out week 48 in these semi-large letters was never going to fit on one line, so I'm going to kind of stack them on top here. But this was the reason that I trimmed down that pattern paper and didn't just have a full 4x6 card of it. Having that little gap at the bottom with the white and the gold, it creates the shelf for the alphas to sit on and just gives the eye a little bit of a resting space. It's also going to give me a place to put a label, and I'm using one of these cardstock sticker ones. It's the only one I've got left. I'm going to do my date stamping on there. It wasn't wide enough to fit it on top of that shelf, like next to the alphas. So I'm going to slip it down here underneath it. It kind of balances out that left side, which is alpha heavy, and it's giving me enough room because it's quite a large date stamp. Like I said, it spans 2 months in here, so November and December. So I need 2 full stamps, and it just gives me enough room to stamp that in underneath. Now I'm going to stamp that in black. I'm going to add some black stamping onto this page because I've got a couple of black and white photos. They were just really poor photos, so I've changed them to black and white, which means I do need to add some black in here somewhere as well. So I'm going to adhere down these little photos from my Not So Good and my Very Merry Day, and then I want to add a little bit of gold back into here. So I'm going to use that washi tape again. I'm not going to use the scallop part of it though, so I've just torn off the piece that I need, and then I'm using my scissors just to trim off the actual scalloped edge of it, so it just gives me a couple of much smaller pieces of gold, but I like that kind of that 3 repetition, so it's in 3 different places. Now, really the last thing I've got to do is I've got 2 filler cards basically to fill in here. I was going to treat them more like sort of, I guess, mini title cards, so to sort of elaborate on which day is happening, so the Not Very Good and the Very Merry Day. And so I'm going to just decorate them a little bit, but I decided that I would add a few more little stickers onto my actual 3x4 photos of the, I guess, the full scale photos. So the photo of Mel and Lil, I just added a chipboard sticker onto there, just a real simple one that says "You are a gift." And then I start hacking to pieces the sticker on top of this card. So the photo I don't think is particularly straight, and so it made getting the sticker straight on it really unpleasantly awkward to do. So I tried to pull it off. That didn't work well. I went to stick it back down again and realized I'd cut off the H. It was just, there was no rescuing that. It was time to give up, throw it away. I'm going to use a different sticker. These are all quite Christmassy sentiments, so, you know, fun, happy, joyful times. This was not one of those times, so it was a little bit difficult to find a sticker that was going to match, but there were some sticker residue left over on that photo. I really did have to replace it with something else, so I've used this gold one. It's hard to see, but it says "Find the Light." And so I'm going to add one more little sticker, so it says "Find the Light Together," and I'm going to call that, that's my sentiment for the Not So Very Good Day. I am going to add a few little enamel dots. I'm determined not to add these back into my stash. I really want to use up as many as I can. They are very large though. I wish there were a few more little smaller ones on here. As far as my like December daily album goes, and for Project Life like this, I much prefer the smaller ones. So I've added a cluster of 3, and then I'm going to kind of repeat that same recipe on this photo, except this one goes much better. I'm just going to pop this sticker right in the middle here. It says "Ready to Deck the Halls," which was definitely a major part of my Very Merry Day. Putting the tree up and getting the house decorated definitely put me much more in the mood for Christmas. I'm doing the same thing, adding the sticker, and then I'm going to add 3 little enamel dots. They get a little bit lost on there because of the baubles that are already on that tree photo, but I'm just going to go with they're adding a bit of texture. So I've got those cards to do. I'm just going to keep them really simple as far as filler cards go. I didn't want to create too much work for myself. I've gone through a pack of die cuts and just pulled out ones that I thought kind of worked, that weren't like super Christmassy, and then I'm just going to really quickly pop these together. So I'm not going to do too much in the way of layering. I really liked these little houses. It suited the kind of theme of my Very Merry Day. And the other one, I'm going to do the stockings being hung on the tree, which actually has nothing to do with my Not Very Good Day, but I like the balance between having an element at the top and an element down the bottom, and I'm going to do some stamping on there. So like I said, super, super simple kind of filler / title cards. You can see me trying to get far too carried away here. I was thinking, oh, how can I layer on puffy stickers? I know that there were kind of like little title ones on here, fa la la, and then I realized that there's a die cut that matches the stickers in this kind of floral, and I wondered about layering those, but I go back to it because as much as I like these kind of layered florals, they're very pretty. There's also a chipboard sticker as well. Again, it's that kind of balance of the top and the bottom that I really liked more than necessarily the actual floral pieces, and you'll see I'm going to end up using those anyway, so I'm glad that I stuck to my guns, kept it simple. All I'm doing is adhering the die cuts down. This card I am actually adhering to literally just because it makes a bigger sort of pattern. I was going to say cluster, but it's not a cluster, it's 2 die cuts stuck together, that's it. So that was super simple. Now I'm just going to do some really quick stamping on here. This is I think it's the Harper Alpha from Citrus Twist. It's like a larger typewriter font, which I like because it pulls together that typewritten sort of journaling at the bottom, makes it, I guess, to me a little bit more cohesive as a set of 3 cards for each day combined into this 12 by 12 page. The ink I'm using is not particularly black, so I kind of had wished that I had pulled out a different ink pad, but I was just trying to quickly get this done. Also making sure that I'm spelling everything correctly because I am working from the right to the left. I did that on both cards just so that I could make sure that I'm tucking in the words that I want to fit in the right place. So it does often mean that I end up with a spelling error. So I have actually written those titles down on a scrap paper off screen so that I can make sure I spell everything correctly and don't have to try to repeat those cards. Now I wondered about leaving it as it is, but I just want to add a couple of little sort of decorative pieces down here to the bottom. They are very simple compared to the rest of the page, and I felt like it stuck out just a little bit that there was no embellishment on there apart from the washi tape. So here we go. I'm finally going to use my little florals. I didn't quite see at the start that there were 2 sets of these florals in the puffy stickers, so I'm going to use both of them. I'm just cutting off the edges of them so that they look like they're sort of floating into the card, and then I'm going to use a couple of the kind of snowflake elements here, which is one of the things I've kind of avoided using this collection because we have a summer Christmas. There's not much in the way of snowflakes happening, except that on this not so good day, we had a really bad storm. There wasn't exactly snow, but there was definitely a lot of hail and a lot of thunder. My poor little Lil was not happy about that. So the snowflakes kind of work on this particular card. Again, I've added them to the edges and I'm just trimming them off. I do love an element that sort of comes into the card from the outside. And that's it. That's my spread all done. Glad I got to use a few of these supplies on Project Life. I mean, I still have a ton to go, so I guess I better get cracking into my December album again. Hey, thanks for watching today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you again really soon. Bye.